Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butz, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Essex Market. Essex Market is New York City's most historic public market, proudly located on Manhattan's Lower East Side. Find the freshest produce, meat, fish, and specialty foods from over 30 unique vendors. Learn more about the market's family of small neighborhood businesses at essexmarket.nyc.
Hello and welcome to Snacky Tunes. I am one half your host, Darren Bresnitz. I know that we are on the eve of Thanksgiving, and it is a complicated time for a lot of people. It is tough to both feel thankful and not nervous about the current situation. I will say I am thankful for Joe Biden winning. I'm nervous about the rising cases. So as always, we ask everyone to be safe, check in with yourself, check in with others, check in with loved ones. And if you can, spend a safe Thanksgiving. Please do. We are sending our loves and thoughts to everyone out there on the front lines. We have a very, very, very special episode sitting down with one of our favorite people, Tommy B, to talk about his pizza pop-up, Le Sorted. If you live in the LA area and you haven't been to Le Sorted, you are truly missing out. He launched it during the pandemic, and we talk about how he got into food, what happened to his photography business, and how pizza and flatbreads brings him closer to friends and family, and how it helped him to slow down and think about life. It's a great interview, one of our dearest friends, and we're so happy to share it with you during our Thanksgiving week. Then we dig deep into the archives, a special LA performance from Honus. It's a really fun LA episode, and if you're looking for a little Thanksgiving inspiration, dig even deeper into the archives for when we sat down with our mom. I believe it was episode 209. Don't quote me on that. Back in 2014, she talks to us about her process. And I'll tell you right now, I'll be re-listening to that episode because I am attempting Thanksgiving for the first time because we won't be home. Mom, we love you. We miss you. And we will all be together next year. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Snacky Tunes here on HRN.
We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes, finger on the pulse, Snacky Tunes.
Tommy, welcome to Snacky Tunes. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, this is great. Obviously this is a really hard time in the independent restaurant scene. We recorded this a couple weeks before it aired, but yesterday LA announced 10 p.m. curfew, 50% outdoor dining, and it's awful, especially from the people from the business, but also for some of us who really love going out to eat. And I know one of the first things that we connected over, and one of the things that a lot of people know about you, is your love for going out to eat. What do you miss the most right now about dining out to eat, and what meals have come to mind recently?
Oof, great question. I mean, number one is definitely going to be martinis. With, yeah, dirty martinis with friends, specifically Taylor's. The last time we went into the lockdown, they did this same kind of thing where it was like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they said, we're going to go back into lockdown on a Friday. And I had just signed the lease on my new house, and we just decided, you know what, it's our last night. I called Taylor's Steakhouse, and I'm like, can I please get a table with Dory, who has been legendary.
She's been our waitress forever.
And it was such what was that? That was June, July, I think. And I went in there, and it was actually one of the first times of this moment, though, that I kind of felt like, do I need to be doing this? Because Dory's wearing a full face mask, and I'm used to walking in there. We give each other a hug.
It's hugs. It's so close. It's like you walk into the bar. It's all elbows. It's all people.
I mean, that's what I miss. I miss the Tommy, what's up? Let's get you to Dory. Let's get you to your table. Those things. Just, the warmth of that place alone. That's I think what I miss the most.
Yeah, I think that human connection, that idea of third place, which people talk about as the one or two spots outside of your home or work that feel like home, and restaurants have really felt that way, especially when you're a regular.
Yeah.
A lot of people who know you have known you from your photography business, and that has taken you all over the country, all over the world. You and I have had some nights together on the road. But when people travel, sometimes I hear from them, I was so exhausted, I just did room service, or I couldn't go out. What is important to you? How do you really get to understand a city? Especially when you're working such long hours, why is it important to go to eat to these restaurants and do the research and spend that time?
Luckily I have you, I will say. I'm no stranger to asking you for a list, but I have my spots, and it's those walks, just getting out of your hotel, because when you are traveling, you're either in this cube, you're in that cube, you're at an event. For me, it was being at events, which I get to see people, but it is just, especially being by yourself, being able to go and not even sit down at a table, but just sit down at a bar in a nice restaurant and talk with the people around you. And again, it's just rubbing elbows with people, that human connection. I think those little getting out and doing those kind of things are so special, and you feel a city. You don't just see it.
Yeah, I think you really get, when you find that right restaurant that really defines a city, you feel in many ways that you experienced it. I feel the same way with museums at times and things like that, but really when you find that right restaurant, you go like, okay, I understand what the city's about.
Yeah, I was just in New York for my first photo booth job of this whole time, and it was kind of surreal, actually, because I went to go to my spots, which typically are I usually will make a reservation at Peter Luger's and never go.
Classic. You're the reason why they don't do reservations, but go on.
And then I go to Joe's Shanghai, which had moved, and which was interesting. It had a new spot, but then sitting in there, not at a shared table, sitting by myself, was surreal. But then going to Lanzhou, is that? And just walking up to there, it always looks closed anyways, I know. It almost looks closed, but walking,
you just gotta listen to the thwack of the noodles.
Exactly.
You got do you hear someone?
And just walking up to a sign that said, we're closing as of October 31st. You know, they were only doing takeout, and I was there for 48 hours, and I bought 60 pork dumplings and left them in my friend's in his freezer for him, letting him know that they were there. But yeah,
on layaway, not his. For when you come back to New York.
There's a chance I'm back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's the rent on a New York freezer these days?
I think it's two Yinglings.
I think that's the toughest thing about seeing all these landscapes that have changed. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about your food and on the road and things like that, because food has really been a big part of your life. And as I mentioned, photography, and as you mentioned, has also been a huge part of your life. And Tommy B has been doing photo booths and things like that all over the country. And so you had a successful business. And this is pre-pandemic. You know, we had no idea what was going to happen. But a couple of years ago, you did start to think about doing a food side business.
Yeah.
What made you start thinking about that? What made you start thinking about expanding beyond, photo booths and getting into food, knowing how competitive and how tough it is to break in at times?
For me, getting into photography started with me working in television. And working in television, you're working 60, 80 hours a week. And, you don't have time to live, basically. And I lost my job in the writer's strike, actually. And it was the first time you have a second to breathe, where you realize that there is a world outside of this television show you work on. And so for me, it was the first time that I had an extended period of just not working and just not sitting in an office. So I started taking photos at parties, and then I realized that at a certain moment that I could make in 4 hours what I was making in a week of television. Yeah. So it became this balance of like, oh wait, I can have a life and still make the same amount of money. And then I kept building on that. So I literally built my whole photo business on the idea of if I work one event, that buys me a week of time. So what happened is this business, exploded. My photo booth and photography business was great. And it allowed me to do things I wanted, travel, stay a couple extra days in these cities and just literally just eat, right? Eat, hang out with friends, but also just being around LA, to have that kind of schedule, do my work, a couple hours here, a couple hours there, go out to lunch, and what happened with this was, it was kind of the same thing. The business was just consuming my life, but I started to realized that I needed to take time for myself, and in that time what gave me joy was cooking, having friends over for dinner, having Friendsgiving, having Super Bowl parties, just buying, Friendsgiving, yeah. I mean, just doing learning how to sous vide, or just going online, learning how to do different techniques. And at a certain point, I've always loved breakfast sandwiches, and that was my idea, to do basically a simple breakfast sandwich pop-up. And it was because I had created the time. I finally gave myself time to do something else other than photo booths. And I mean, that's kind of where this led me to, is where I was so consumed, and then the pandemic comes, and suddenly I have all the time in the world again. Which was, I had a moment, I was cooking like I always do, just dinner one day, and I just, instead of thinking about who I had to respond to while I was, making pasta, I was thinking about what I could put with this pasta, what would go great with these flavors, instead of literally what, do I have enough sandbags for a light stand, or, and it was a moment where that was the same exact thing that happened to me before. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it.
Now we're going to get to COVID and quarantine and starting sorted shortly, but I want to go back to the breakfast sandwich a little bit, because, I had quite a few test sandwiches. You put a lot of research into it, but you eventually wound up moving into what you do now, which is the focaccias and the pizzas and things like that. What, was the ultimate decision to move away from the original idea? Because sometimes people will get locked into that and they'll be public about it, which you were, and they're like, I'm doing this, and then feel like they can't walk away. But sometimes the best thing for an idea is to be like, yeah, this isn't going to work. And if anyone's upset about it, they can go screw.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely had that. I wasn't letting go. I was so into it because, I told you, for me, it was about my favorite job that I've to date ever had. And that was working in and out.
Yeah.
It really, I thought about just their way of doing things, and I went, why not why couldn't we just do that with breakfast sandwiches, right? No nonsense. It was the best idea, and it really. Yeah. But what I realized is that just acting on your ideas and not just sitting back and like stewing and being a perfectionist. I realized how much of a perfectionist I was, and that was almost debilitating. In that, like, I was stewing over the name, like, was this name right or was this name right? Like, then I hired like 2 or 3 different people to do different logos. I was spending all this money developing sausage recipes, like
I remember
bread recipes. I wasn't stopped, but I was also there was no progress. I was still just making the same sandwich, which was great. And I had so much, it was a great sandwich, but like there was no progress. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't just take the leap. And I think, I don't know. I still don't know. It was just felt right. Like to just, I don't think I've walked away even yet. I don't know. It's hard to describe, I think.
Sometimes ideas, even when they get out of your head and you talk to the people about it, things like that, I think as you get older, especially when it's a business as well.
Oh yeah.
You start just going, okay, I've gone down not this road, but a similar road, and this doesn't make sense, and logistically I can't really do it. And it's not as forgiving, cooking eggs and cooking sausage and the breads and everything. There's a lot of components when you think about what seems like a tight little sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Is a lot. But then, you didn't give up because you started getting into making bread and making pizza. What pulled you into that world? And again, I will say this is pre-quarantine because as a sourdough stereotype over here, you were at least ahead of the curve by, a couple months, a year of working with dough and things like that.
My sister...
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Gemini Bakehouse.
Shout out.
They'd been doing, she's a pastry chef. Her husband is a baker. They've been doing their thing, and watching them has been amazing. But for me, it was, I'm not exactly an easy person to buy gifts for. I'm kind of just, when I see something, I typically will just buy it. And you've seen my garage.
Yeah, I've seen your garage.
Yeah.
And the yard.
Yeah. And the porch.
And the porch.
Yeah. But my girlfriend Erin, she pulled a great snipe present on me. She definitely saw me just looking up pizza ovens surprised me. Completely surprised me with a pizza oven, Uni pizza oven, and for Christmas. And it was one of those. I went out and I bought Mark Vetri's Mastering Pizza, and I bought Bianco's
Legends.
Bought those 2 books, and I basically, I don't know, I just threw myself into it. And whereas I gave up on bread because I just, the patience it took, like having to be committed to this for
week.
Day.
It's a
day, like 12 hours,
walking
away, coming back in 6 hours, then coming back in 30 minutes, then coming back in 30 minutes. It was just, I just am not able to do that.
It's a lot.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
It's too much. But there's something about making pizza dough that just sucked me in. Like, it taught me like a form of patience that I didn't think I had. And it was kind of nice to just be present in this process and to make it and then know that it's there, let it sit, and know that I was going to come back. But it was also like committing to these processes, because if I was going to tell you like, hey, I'm going to make pizza on Saturday, there was something for me that like the slowing down of, because my life just never stops, when you're doing events and you're running around. And so for me, it was like to know that I had to make time to make this dough on Thursday.
Yep.
To have it on Saturday. That just, it slowed my life down for once. And it was kind of nice. And then from there, I mean, you saw that I was doing it, and you just sent me the Anthony Falco, the master class in Napa Valley, and I mean, truth be told, I didn't really know who Anthony was. I like looked it up. I looked at the Evite, and then I looked at who it was, and I went, you know what? I love Roberta's. So you know what? I just did it. You sent it to me, and I feel like I sent to you back like 5 minutes later. I just booked the ticket, and I'm like, I'm going for it, and here we are.
Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break because we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the actual launch of Assorted, how that tied into the complete stop of your photography business, and how it's been developing.
A real home run. A business on the rise. Here
we go. We have a song from the archives on Snacky Tunes on HRN.
I live off love, I feed off love, I breathe off love. I sink in love, I think in love, I drink of love. And in the middle of the night I need my love. I need to crave, I need to need and be in love. My love is gonna call to me tonight. I give my love and all my love to you, my love. I feast on love, a beast for love, release my love. You're scared and unprepared for love, don't care, my love. 'Cause you're the only woman I've been dreaming of. I swear to God I'm loving you for that. I swear to God I'm making you my wife. And if you ever leave me, I never will be sorry. I love you till you're lonely, and I love you some more just before. Beauty, 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 there's nobody near me, there never was. Beauty, 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 there's nobody near me, there never was.
Welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We're here with Tommy B of Assorted. And so you have the pizza oven. You've learned from Anthony Falco, shout out. And you're doing pizzas. And, you know, this is still January, February of this year. Everything's fine. and then March hits and it's in quarantine. And your business, your photography business, is done overnight, which happened to a lot of people. But what I realized with you is that it seemed like quarantine hit and we all took a breath, but then you got Lasorted, the pizza and the sandwiches, up and running really quickly. What went into that decision? How did you feel about your business that you poured years into being just hanging in the void? And how did you get Lasorted up and running?
As far as walking away from it, it was that moment. Like I said, I was sitting there, and the way that I looked at what was happening, I truly felt to myself that while it seemed like everything had ended, I felt like there was no way
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, I was going to be expected to pay rent at my house at that time. Like, you couldn't, like, really, you're going to tell me I have to stay in my house,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're just going to kick me out of my, there's no way that this is going to happen in America, right? This is what's going through.
Well, it depends what part of America you live in.
Oh, of course. No, but this is what I was just thinking. Like, I know that everyone was freaked out, you know, but I just kind of, for a second, thought, where is this? I'm just going to keep moving. Like, I got to just, rather than feel sorry for myself or, you know, or my business that was gone, I just am going to, like, what can I do now? And I just decided to do it. And it was just kind of no questions, just launch it, just go. Like, I don't know, and ask questions later, basically.
Yeah, I mean, so Lasorted started on your porch. You pretty much posted one Instagram video announcing it, which was fantastic. And then it was, you know, just out there, which is always interesting when things are just out in the ether, especially now, because you're just like, okay, well, my friends like it, but does that mean they're going to come buy a pizza?
Yeah.
Who's going to come by? What were those early weeks like, and what were people's initial response?
You know, the first post I did was on what was supposed to be opening day of baseball. So,
can we just say go Dodgers?
Yeah. Oh my, go Dodgers! They went.
They went. They went.
Finally. But we, you know, I love making stupid videos for friends on my Instagram, and so it was one of those. Just, you know, I think we all needed something to smile about, laugh about, and why not do this? So that's when we started it. Then, you know, it was just kind of moving forward. I posted it that I'm going to sell pizzas. It was really, there was takeout, and I was ordering, like, at first we weren't ordering. You know, I had stockpiled all these groceries. I mean, like, I still have 4 military cases of stuff.
Yep.
You know, I think a lot of us
we all do.
Yeah.
But you can justify it now with earthquakes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But I had a moment where I went to pick up, because I was out buying groceries. I really needed to get out of my house from time to time, and that was what I did. It was when I would go to the store. But when I started to, like, trust going to restaurants at first, there was a time when I was sitting at a restaurant picking up my food, and I saw delivery drive, like, not wearing gloves.
Oh yeah.
And that was in the very beginning, and I'm like, okay, these guys that are delivering my food aren't even doing this. So I went, and I'm pretty trustworthy. It was just like my moment of really reeling it in. And so I thought that I posted it to friends mainly, you know, it was mainly just to get to friends and let friends know that I'm staying in my house. I'm being extremely safe. Maybe if you want to get out of your house and just come to someone you trust, you know, come on over, and I'm making pizzas fresh out of a, you know, 800 degree oven right into your hands. You know what I mean? And that was where it started. And I just kept, you know, let's do it Fridays. And it was 30 pizzas. And then it was the next weekend, it was 35. Then it was 40. Then I did a thing with Travis. Then it became about doing stuff for other people,
like for the industry and things like that.
So, like, if I could do little things here and there along the way for people, you know, in a safe environment, that was important to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I remember we hadn't really left the house, and going to get pizza for the first time, seeing you and seeing Aaron, and just being like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I missed seeing friends, but also getting food from someone else. And every Friday became a very great thing to look forward to when you're like, okay, you're cooking, and then you added the charity element, and it built really quickly because I think that the intention was true.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of businesses that started during that time that have now collapsed, actually. Like there's a bunch of pandemic stuff that was up, and then had charity, and then it was down. How have you stayed consistent? There has been some setbacks. I know that you had that space that was a bit of a boondoggle. I know that you've had some people who have got you to do stuff and it hasn't gone as well. How have you kept going?
I just, this is, and I think that throughout doing photography, I love it. I love telling stories.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my biggest story, a big storyteller for me is through my food, and it's an extension of me that I've always connected with, but I've never had the time or resources to explore this space. And right now, I just have the time, and aside from the time, it's like it just feels like what I'm supposed to do.
Did you have a moment? Was there an interaction with someone or a friend or even someone you met where you go, this is validation, and the moment I'll drag from when I'm making dough at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m?
That was the thing, it was those first, I really get the chills still thinking about those first couple of months of people coming, and I could just tell, I could tell when this was the first time somebody had been out of their house. Because I think not a lot of us, but for me, or people who were out there shopping, or, you become numb to this idea that there was a lot of people who weren't leaving their homes. And still, truly, actually. There was, just on Saturday, when I was doing pieces at Bar Bandini, this couple came up, and they were standing 8 feet away from the table where we were taking their order. And they were like, we've heard about your pizza, and this is actually our first time out of the house in 3 months. Because we didn't get into what had happened, but a lot of people were still not comfortable with being out of their homes. And
rightfully so.
Totally. There's a lot of people who are moving on like it's over, which is, obviously absurd.
Yeah.
But it's those moments where I can still, you look in someone's eyes, you can see so much, and watching these people, you can feel, there's a moment they get lost in the moment where they can't believe they're sitting with somebody actually talking face to face. And you see them, they literally forget where they are. They forget what it feels like to be in this moment. And for me, it's still what pushed me through a lot of this, and I have to say the support of all my friends. I look at the orders, I look at the people who come, and there's friends who come every week. You guys come almost every week, almost.
No, so sorry for having a kid and things like that.
Oh no, totally.
Yeah.
No,
I'll talk to Josephine
if you could.
Yeah.
I'll write her a note.
Yeah.
But no, that was a fun part also, though, is friends.
Yeah,
friends.
I love that.
Friends coming, but then friends telling their friends to come, and then them getting to. I pour my heart out to anybody I meet, really. I give all of myself in everything. I try to, you know, especially if it's a friend of a friend, or it just keeps expanding. But it's been that it's just the people really that keep me going.
Yeah. So you've been at Bar Bandini, and you did what will probably go down as a legendary pop-up at the Friend, because it just so happened to be the day that the presidential election was called for Biden.
Oh yeah.
But you do have some pop-ups coming up at the Friend, which I want to talk about. But also, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's so unclear what the future is, right? Of what's going to be open, what's going to be allowed for. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what you have going on coming up, and then also how do you plan for, you know, this disease and this situation that's devastating the restaurant industry?
I mean, you know, so yeah. Well, first off, we were slated to do. Yeah. So it's not even how to say it. So we were slated to do every Saturday.
Yeah.
At the Friend in December, which, you know, Mike B. I'm working with Mike B. who's
legend. Shout out. Yeah,
done 100 parties with.
Yeah.
You know, so that it really was. That was a special night. So that was we were looking forward to that. So I don't know where it's gonna go, and I think that's what you can prepare and do whatever you want, but really it can all change in a moment. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do today. You know, we have this thing on Saturday. We're doing the Thanksgiving pop-up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know, I done all this planning going into it to pop up a full turkey fry situation. And it's like, can we even do this anymore? You know, like the past 2 days I've been figuring out if we're even allowed to do it. I'm getting my truck, you know, I got my truck, and my oven comes next week. So I'll have that. I can be kind of mobile, and I don't know, maybe I end up on my porch again. I'm just going to keep going. You just keep moving.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to ask for guidance and for leadership from a guy who goes to eat out at the French Laundry and tells everyone that they got to stay home. It's really tough to get that sort of guidance. Yeah. And, you know, it's one foot in front of the other. I think that's probably what I hear the most from everybody, but I don't think people actually want that. I think people in the restaurant industry or people who are doing food business actually want a clear set of rules.
Oh, 100%.
Just be like, just give us the box we need to live in, make it consistent, say it's 3 months, 6 months, and then we will just adjust. And that's been one of the greatest things. One of the things that you have done and what I've seen in a lot of people is problem solving. Totally. I mean, that's what it is. And then at the end result, you get to have a business and things like that, and then you get to bring joy to people.
Totally.
So, you know, we're heading into winter. We're going to be in this thing for at least another, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, what's the plan? What are you going to do? What do you want to do the rest of the time? Like, what's ideal for you to walk out of quarantine? And look, I don't say that you have to do anything more. I think you've done a great job. But what personally would you like to do in the next 6 to 8 months? And then let's say we get the vaccine. What does this sort of look like after quarantine?
Well, I mean, all I can do is roll with it at this point. You know, I can make all the plans I want. You know, I got this space. I got this space originally, you know, and I was like, I can't believe I'm just going to fall into this space right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it ended up being this blessing in disguise of reminding me that. And I don't say this lightly, me being able to be mobile and not having committed to a space. Yeah. You know, it's unfortunate what's happening to a lot of friends' places. It's horrible. And people are losing their jobs, and you know, it is a lot of these pop-ups these pandemic pop-ups. You know, I think you're at this weird advantage of kind of growing in the pandemic. Whereas maybe instead of having a nice dining room, I'm just going to have a window if I got a space. Or maybe I don't want to just jump into a space. Maybe I just invest in a truck or something like that, you know? So I'm growing every step of the way with everybody and everything going along with it, you know? It's trying not to get ahead of myself. Because when I did get ahead of myself, it completely bit me in the...
It's tough. It's tough.
It is.
So then maybe we'll leave the after pandemic question for down the road.
You know what? I want to have a place. Ideally, La Sorted's is that place. Maybe somewhere around Dodger Stadium. You know, that you just know that you're gonna go in. It's not trendy. You know, it's not the cool place to be, but it's just.
Come on, don't sell yourself short.
It's an LA staple. You know, it's gonna be something that's there forever.
Tommy B behind the bar, right?
Yeah, telling stories.
Telling stories.
Of course, yeah, man.
And real quick, what will be the thread count of the sheets in the bathroom? Egyptian cotton level?
Yeah, I was going to say minimum Egyptian 1400. Would that do?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
So Tommy, thank you so much. If people want to follow along with the pizza, the focaccias, the different pop-ups you're doing, place orders, where can they go?
Everything's pretty much through our Instagram, Lasorteds, at Lasorteds.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, this is great. We have another song from the archives and then a classic performance on Snacky Tunes here on HRN.
Essex Market is a food lover's paradise with over 30 unique vendors selling everything from one-of-a-kind spices to daily grocery staples, and even scratch-made prepared foods. At HRN, we believe that buying from local purveyors is one of the best ways to support an equitable food system. That's why this holiday season we'll be shopping from the vendors at Essex Market. Not only are their offerings fresh and delicious, they're also affordable and sold by a community of passionate small business owners. This connection is what has made Essex Market a stalwart in New York City's food landscape for the last 80 years. Now located in a brand new building, Essex Market continues to be one of the most unique food experiences in New York. At Essex Market, you'll find Lower East Side locals shopping for plantains and avocados, alongside visitors browsing freshly baked bread and locally produced cheeses. If this gets you hungry, order from one of the market's many prepared food vendors, serving up dishes from Peru, Thailand, Morocco, and beyond. Learn more and shop online for local same and next day delivery at essexmarket.nyc.
Welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We have Honus live in studio. Could we call you Ryan?
Yeah, please.
Okay, Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, thank you.
And, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
quick
appreciate
shout
it.
out to my lovely wife and your old roommate, Anna, for giving us this wonderful idea to bring you in.
She's an angel, a very tall angel.
She's my angel.
Yes.
She's mine.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway, so welcome. So happy to have you here. So most of us know you from the Man days.
Yes.
How did that get started? How did that project come to fruition?
Poor life decisions.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. That's been great.
Yeah, thanks.
So poor life decisions?
Yeah, I was going to move to Los Angeles after, I went to school for like playwriting and screenwriting, and I was going to move to LA after like a year, and then just on a lark, I started a band just for fun.
You were in Philly, right?
In Philly, yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out to Philly.
Shouts your Sixers, 76ers.
Oh, yeah, Joel Embiid. I trust the process.
So on a whim, you started a band?
Oh, yeah, and then it just kind of took over, and then suddenly I was a guy in a band writing and singing songs. And not what I planned.
How did it go from like a lark, can we say?
Yeah.
A whimsy fancy of passing to something, like when did it click, be like, oh shit, this is real?
It was that stupid, like, foolhardiness of being young, where I only wanted to make one record and then get on with my life. I was like, oh, this will be cool. I'll make a record. And then, like, years later, like, oh, I made a record when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then,
hey kids, your dad was cool, man.
Yeah, and then my entire band quit on me after the first record. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to show those guys and keep doing it and make another record.
Spite is a powerful motivator.
Yeah, it spite, revenge, like, yeah, and here I am.
I mean, the second record was called Fuck You Guys, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
But honestly, when did it all click? Like, when did you, like, because, I mean, you guys were on the road, you guys played
Oh, we
festivals.
toured like crazy.
I mean, you guys were known for your, like, rowdy, fun, crazy shows.
I definitely did see you play the keeper with your butt at a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. And I actually right here I have a permanent welt from all the times that I pretended to hit my head on the keyboard, but actually did.
Yeah.
It's like my Wesley Willis welt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or it's my brain pushing out and I'm like slowly dying.
Be like, dude, you have got to stop hitting me.
Yeah, it's why you're an insomniac, is because this part of your head is like totally screwed.
So did Man get you out to LA? Is that what brought you out here?
I kept telling myself that I would move out here, and so, I lived out of a duffel bag basically for 7 years. And I would sublet in LA, and then I rationalized that once I was successful enough, I would just move out here and have a bi-coastal band, and then I realized that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I just, your wonderful wife kind of helped me get out here.
Bless that angel.
Yeah. And she, when I lived in that house with her, she was like, I have this spare bedroom and there's a couch and you can get a bed in here. I was like, I want to live on a couch for a year.
Yeah.
And see if I can live anywhere for a year.
Is it technically living on a couch if that's your bed and it's a permanent home?
Yeah, I guess so. It was so uncomfortable.
The lumps of life.
Oh, yeah.
So Man had its run, right?
It's still Man's still a band until I want to not do it. So I'm working on
When does a band? I guess that's a good question. When does a band stop being a band when it's just you?
When there's no Coachella offer in the future.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it's what if you just have a press release.
Yeah,
you got a buy already.
Like I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But it was weird putting out a quote solo record because all the songs I wrote anyway just went into Man. I just wanted to see if I branded it something different, maybe different people would get on board.
Did they?
No. So yeah, that was that.
Okay.
So I don't know if the next record will be a Man record or Honus or whatever.
But I mean, it's going to be all right.
Yeah. So
Why don't we hear a song?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
What are
sure.
you going to play for us first?
This is a song for Kong,
Song for Kong. Shout out to Kong.
and it's called "Vampires in the Valley." It's a shorty,
Okay.
and so this is all stripped down on this tiny keyboard.
No, it's great. All right, well,
Yeah.
here we go. Honus live.
Yeah. Oh, to the Mexican Bela Lugosi lives in the basement apartment of my building, carving a coffin out of Fangoria magazines, pantomime and let me suckle all your blood, please. In the valley of vampires, palm trees and bungalows, ginormous boo monsters and drop-top convertibles. I wish that I could do something to ground him, the king of everything that once was, but now is gone. I only see him at 4 in the morning by the 7-Eleven, smoking prescription warnings, telling me his day will come, telling me his break will come, telling me the rain will come and wash his dreams upstream. Whoa.
Yeah.
So besides branding it a different project, was the songwriting approach or the context of the songs any different from the Man songs?
I've been living out here for a while, and I love LA. I love Philly too, because Philly's a really strange city.
I mean, if you live there, you have to love it.
I mean, I drank the water for so long that it definitely affected my DNA.
You drank the water.
The water. I drank the water for so long that it definitely affected my genetics. Like, I probably can't have a normal kid.
What does that mean for us, man? We grew up there.
It's
going to come out looking like a soft pretzel on Tuesday.
Yeah, you're just going to hope that Jaeger blood is strong.
She's from that area, too. Oh, man.
But yeah, and so I just wherever I live is what affects the songs I write.
I mean...
And so I've been out here, and I love how weird LA is,
The album's very much an LA album.
It's like it's a love letter to the city. And to like the stuff that I feel like when most people think of LA, they've never been here. They just think of Hollywood and red carpets and all that jazz. And that's not where I live.
Yeah. Being East Coasters growing up and spending the majority of my time on the East Coast, like what I thought about LA is completely different than what it is.
Yeah. I agree with you. And no one should move here.
Really?
Well, no one else. I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
You don't want to ruin this place.
Yeah. So, in writing a love letter album to a city, how do you make it, original and personal, yet something that is like anyone who lives here can sort of relate to your songs?
That's the struggle of writing songs. But I never want to write a song that someone can't find themselves in, I always struggle with that. It has to be objective. So every song is like storytelling. I bury parts of myself in there, and then it's just imagery. I'm like a failed screenwriter. So I pour it into like 3-minute songs.
No, look, failed screenwriters are just screenwriters who haven't found success yet.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Bless
you.
You know what I mean? Like, you hear about all the people who like had the script in the drawer for like 12 years, and then they're like, boom.
They're like
Mad Men.
Boo, Grown-Ups 4. I made it.
Yeah, I'm doing rewrites on the next Garfield movie. It's pretty cool.
Like, I skipped 3, I just guessed where 4 was going.
yeah.
They're in Paris.
Yeah. Oh man, Garfield at the Louvre, hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, whenever I write a song, I just, I really focused on like it being a movie in its own right.
You want to rip another tune?
Yeah. I'm going to play a song that I have never really played live before. It's on the record, but we haven't played it live.
What's it called?
It's called Melted Dice, and it was my version of a love song for a girl.
Okay.
But it probably won't sound like that.
All right.
Song I wrote for my ex. There's a light in your eyes, inherent vice that gets my skin quivering like a baby, taking a breath of this cold world in, which can be over and underwhelming, unforgiving, existential like the shroud of Turin. Whatever fire fuels you within, oh, I hope it consumes me before it ends, like driving on the 10 West. It's a way you can commandeer a room like a sensual caress, can teach a dolphin English, or maybe it's something more pedestrian and I'm blind to it. You make my head spin around like melted dice every time you roll into view. You make all the years behind us disappear like melting ice every time you roll into view. I am yours and you are mine. I'm born an accidental tourist with a demagnetized moral compass, easy prey for dark-haired gypsies who dazzle me with physics, wallow me with rain sticks. Will you be my umbrella, underwhelm me, all-consuming, existential to the point of bruising, whatever fire fuels us within, oh, I hope it consumes me before it ends. You make my head spin around like loaded dice every time you roll into view. You make all the years behind us disappear like melting ice every time you roll into view. I am yours and you are mine. And if I'm questioned under duress, tortured and manacled, I won't confess how many licks it takes me to get to the center of your affection. Feed me to feral dogs in the street, whip me with chains and concrete at my feet, throw me at sea and I'll smile as I sink. I'll never betray who you are. There's a light in your eyes, it penetrates and shines right inside me to see not who I am right now, but the man who I've always struggled to be, which can be over and underwhelming, all-consuming, existential to the point of boredom. Whatever fire fuels you within, oh, I hope it consumes me before it ends, like driving on the 10 West. Oh, goddamn.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome song. Hate the 10.
Oh, yeah, the 10 is the worst.
10 is the worst. Last night I was, this is the most LA thing I'm going to say, but I took surface streets to avoid the 10 West.
I do that all the time. Whenever I'm in Culver City and I have to make my way back to the east side, it's 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
So in addition to Honus, you also have another project called Mr. Heavenly.
Mr. Heavenly, yeah.
Mr. Heavenly.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And who rips on bass for you?
Sometimes Michael Cera.
Yeah.
I'm friends. A good friend of mine is Nick Thorburn he was in the Unicorns. He was band Islands, and we've been friends. I put out my first Man record, I think, when he put out the Unicorns record. So
God bless the Unicorns.
And so we'd always talked about being in a band together because I thought our voices would complement each other because he's got the high, I've got the low.
Yeah.
And we finally did it. We put out a record on Sub Pop a long time, 6 years ago. And then it's taken us this long to do another record.
Wow. And
I've been wanting to make music with my buddy Joe, who plays drums, and it just seemed natural to fold all three of us into it.
So is that going to get a tour as well?
Yeah, hopefully in the fall. We're almost done recording the follow-up record 6 years later.
But I feel like that is sort of...
Our schedules are crazy, so
but I feel like with the music industry today, I feel like that is totally standard now. Where like you come together for a project, and then you go away, and then you come back and do another project, and like people are just down.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I'd like to just tour nonstop like I did for 15 years... Like, economically, it just doesn't make sense anymore. Unless I want to live out of a storage unit like I did forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice having a bed, you know?
Oh, upgrade.
Upgrade, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you ever think that you could take all three projects on the road at the same time? Opener, middle, closing?
No. I mean, I wouldn't be able to talk. No, absolutely not, ever. That's hell. But when I tour with Honus, I play Man and Mr. Heavenly songs.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way.
Yeah, in a way, it's just not broken up.
Yeah.
But you could get the three paychecks. But a night.
Yeah, they all. In this day and age, they're like one paycheck.
Yeah. But you could do like one special theater show where you did all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One night only.
Yeah, I'm a total masochist.
So what do you have coming up? So you have the Mr. Heavenly record.
Yeah, I'm working on another. If it's Honus or Man, it's kind of the same thing. I'm working on another record.
Awesome.
I have to give a shout out to my buddy Cyrus, who he produced the Honus record.
Shout out to Cyrus.
And he's the man.
He's your ride or die.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't have made the record unless he basically forced me to make the record. And so he's my dude.
Isn't it awesome? People are just like, dude, you have to go do this.
Yeah, and
what was his motivational? Did he have a speech or just harass you?
Just kick me, harass me. It was a great foil to have.
Would he just say Bill Paxton's speech from Independence Day?
Yeah, no, it was like the Braveheart thing, but dressed as Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. It's awesome. Well, listen, we want to make sure we have enough time for one more song.
Oh, yeah.
But where can people find you online? Where can people get the album?
Honus.com. You can get it, you can get it online. You can get it iTunes, Amazon. It's on the streaming services if you don't want me to, ever make any money.
No, dude, you get a couple pennies. A couple shekels.
You get, yeah.
We don't have enough time to talk about.
Yeah, but it's at independent music stores, and if they don't have it, they can always order it.
Yeah.
So it's got distribution.
Awesome.
And this song I'm going to play for you guys. I directed a music video for it that's going to come out soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the name of the song?
Will You?
Ooh, yes, I will. I just want to say a special shout out. Thank you to Cameron. For letting us use the studio. First LA episode. Shout out to Kong, to Anna, to the Hatchet Hall guys, to Meatball,
Greg, and to Darren.
And to Pinterest boards everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And to Tom and Emma. Congratulations.
For putting me in this state.
Right. Do you have a Pinterest board? Do you have any Pinterest boards?
I think I'm going to start one now. Is this podcast brought to you by Pinterest? It should be. I mean, if there's ever a case.
Yeah. As a man who's done Pinterest boards, they are awesome.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Joel Embiid for bringing the heart of basketball back to Philadelphia after all of these years. I love you, Joel. We were debating calling the Mr. Heavenly record Embiid. Like, seriously, no bullshit.
That's how much you love him.
That's how much we love him.
Respect the process.
Yeah, man. Trust it.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode of Snacky Tunes.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah, here's a song called Will You.
Will you blow your brains out on a Sunday?
Or will you slag it off until the moon goes down and do it Monday? You said nobody will love you like you need a riddle. You figured you never unravel, and here you are now, waiting for the night to turn into another sunrise. Will you blow your brains out on a Monday? Or will you wait it out and see if the love comes round and do it Tuesday? Uplifting message. Hang in there.
We talk about food, we talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
This program is powered by Simplecast.
Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content and to hear about exclusive events, subscribe to our newsletter. Enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at heritage_radio. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Rate the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join our community by becoming a member. Just click on the beating heart at the top right of our homepage. Thanks for listening.